Welcome to NAV Master's video series on Dynamics NAV. In this video, we will cover an overview of Dynamics NAV use of items. We'll include a detailed discussion on items, ordering controls, variant codes, customer pricing, sales orders, vendor pricing, requisition worksheets, purchase orders, planning worksheets, and production orders. The next area that we'd like to take a look at is the item card. So we're going to start with inventory, and I'm going to go to items, and I begin by getting to what looks like what is an item list. So this is a list of all of my items. I can filter these by number, by description, by cost. I can filter them by all sorts of different variables here. So for example, if I type in 1000 and hit the enter key, it filters just to the single item that is 100. If I go over here and type in 10 and hit an asterisk in here, now I get all the ones that start with 10 and then have any additional trailing numbers after it. So I can filter data by a number of different methods here. On the right-hand side of this screen, I have some fact boxes. So I see my item number. My costing method is standard. I see that the standard cost is $350.59. I see that the unit price, which is the selling price for this unit, is $4,000. So I can see a fair amount of information about this directly off of this sheet. If I double-click this, it actually opens up the item card. Now, the item card contains a lot of different sections here, and I can open and close these by clicking these little up and down arrows here. Once I go into any kind of a card like this, if you look at the bottom, it says show more fields, and if I click this, it actually will show some additional fields here. So I have the item number, I have an item description, I have a base unit of measure for this, and I can set up as many of these as I want to. Base unit of measure for this particular item is piece, and there actually are 3 different units of measure that are used here. I can have a base unit of measure, I can have a selling unit of measure, and I can have a purchasing unit of measure. So I can purchase by the box, sell by the piece or the each, and so there's a lot of flexibility in the way that Dynamics NAV handles units of measure. I have some additional things here. When I'm looking at this card, I see quantity on purchase order, I see quantity on sales order. These numbers are blue, and if you notice when I move over them, a little line appears here. And if I click on this, this actually will go in and show me my production order list. When I click this navigate button, I can also then show the individual production order. So here we have a production order to make this bicycle, and it's for a quantity of 27 with a due date and so on and so forth. So I can actually navigate to these documents directly off the item card and see what's here. I can do the same thing with quantity on sales orders. So I could click into here, and this will open up a list of all of my sales orders, which total the total quantity that I saw on that front page. And if I want to pick a particular sales order here, I can actually open this up. It'll take me directly to the sales order. I can see who the customer is, what the posting date is, the due date of the order, all of the information about this, what I'm selling it for, planned delivery date, planned ship date, all of those kinds of things directly from the item card. I can just simply navigate to these things. So there's a lot of information that's available here. If I close this window up and I open up the next one, I see the Invoicing tab here. And this basically lets me decide what my costing method is going to be, and Dynamics NAV allows you to use FIFO, LIFO, special, average, or standard costing, kind of the standards that are used throughout the industry. I can establish the standard cost for the item. I have a selling price that I can put on here, so if there's no customer-specific selling price or anything else, this is the price that will appear on my sales order. I can pick some posting groups, and posting groups is a whole nother discussion that we'll have at some point in time, but I put in the basic posting groups that I want this to work with, and these posting groups determine what GL chart of account numbers the transactions will post to when I use this item. I can say allow discounts, and I can have an item discount group here. When I drill into this item discount category, I can actually navigate to this discount, and we can see what it means to actually have this discount. So if I look at sales line discounts up here, what I see is that for all customers, if a customer buys a minimum quantity of 15, they're going to get an extra 25% discount on this line item purchase. So it gives you the ability to further control the customer sales experience here. I have a sales unit of measure, and this can be different from the base unit of measure that I had. So I could buy this in boxes and sell them in pieces. Under the replenishment system, this particular item is set up to be replenished by a production order. So it's linked to manufacturing. I'm going to produce this, and it's a make to order. The other option that I have here is make to stock. So if I wanted to always have stocking levels of a certain number of these, this one is made to specific orders. I can have a routing for it. This is routing number 1000, which matches the part number. It's a typical way that routings are created here. And if I look at the routings, I can actually go in and see the routing for this. Oops, let me exit out here and edit this. So here I'm first going to Work Center 10, it's wheel assembly, then chain assembly, then final assembly, and then quality control. And I have the estimated setup time, run time, wait time, so on and so forth. And these are configured in minutes. So I can set my unit of measure here as minutes, hours, whatever I need to in order to do that. And in addition to routing for this, I also have a production bill of materials. Again, if I drill into this, I can edit the bill of materials for this, and here I see all of the materials that are going to go into assembling this bike, a front wheel, a back wheel, a chain assembly, all of the items that are going to be used for it, along with the quantity per. So in terms of manufacturing the item, I can configure routings and bill of materials for it. We have a flushing method, and the flushing methods are either forward or backward or manual. And what this does really is it tells Dynamics NAV how you want to consume the materials that are on the material from the bill of materials. So I have a production order. If I have this set to backward, the system will automatically remove those materials when I complete the item on the production order. If I set it to forward, as soon as I begin working on the production order, the materials are removed and flushed from the system. So it automatically will consume the materials on your bill of material from a production order. Another area that's really kind of interesting here, and one of the things that I think is a real plus for Dynamics NAV, is that we can track things. We can set up an item tracking code, and we can track serial numbers or lot numbers. We also can set an expiration date on these items, so that, for example, I could have an item, and if I set up a date here, for example, of 6M, after when this item was put into inventory, after 6 months had expired, we would no longer be able to sell it. It would be considered expired. So some very nice features related to how Dynamics NAV can handle things related to item tracking. There's also a planning area for things that are purchased. So here I can set a fixed reorder quantity. I can set a min-max level. And for items that are purchased in here, then I can set ordering controls. The reorder point is when I hit 10, I'm going to reorder 100. I can have a min-max setup where my minimum is 10. When I hit that, I'm going to bring it back up to a max quantity, and I have order multiples that I have to observe with my vendor. So a lot of flexibility and a lot of power in the way that things are set up around the items in Dynamics NAV. There are some other features that I think you'll find very interesting about these items. I'm going to pick something that isn't a manufactured item. I'm going to pick an item that is a purchase item. So I created an item for this demonstration, and it's a cigar. And if it's the Havana cigar, so if I open this up, I've set this item up as a purchased item. And we're going to go down and just take a look at the bottom of this for a second. So replenishment system is purchasing. I'm going to use a fixed reorder quantity. When I get to a quantity of 10, I'm going to reorder another 100 of these. And I've also set up some other attributes on this that are very unique. Well, I think they're kind of interesting for many businesses. So if I hit navigate here and I go to variant codes, in Dynamics NAV, variants are used for minor variations of a product. So for example, if I were producing ink pens, the ink pens may all be the same, but they have different colors. So the item is really the same, but it has a minor variation, and it would be color. So for my cigar, what I've done is I've set up some variant codes here of good, better, and best. So this is my Havana cigar. It's a 4A quality. Better is a 3A, good is a 2A, so on and so forth. So I've set these variants up for this. And then what I've actually done is I've gone into the sales area and I've set up pricing for this. So for all customers, and I could set this up for a specific customer or a customer price group, but I have this set up for all customers right now. If you buy a good cigar, you're going to pay $100 a box. If you buy better, it's going to be $150. If you buy the best, it's going to be $200 per box for cigars. So depending upon the variant code, I can change the pricing structure that I charge to my customers. So let me close this up and show you how this actually works. So if I go out to sales and marketing, order processing, and I create a sales order here. I'm going to create a brand new sales order, and I'm going to make this to, let me just tab off of that and drop down here to my sell to customer. I'm going to sell this to the Canon group, and none of the rest of this really matters for this illustration, but if I come down here and I put in type item, and I'm going to sell my cigar, it pops up and says Havana cigar, but now I can come into my variant code and I can select which of these that I actually want to pick here. So let's pick good, and when I tab off of this, what you can see is that the unit price is $100 here. But if I go into here and I select better and I tab off of this, my unit price automatically changes to $150. And again, if I pick the very best and I tab off of this, then it goes to $200. And notice that the descriptions change with the description on the variant code. So now with my best, I have Havana cigar, 4A quality. So I can control my pricing based upon attributes of a particular product here. Kind of a very nice, a very slick way to control pricing. And these prices can be set by all customers, by specific customers, by price groups. And if I'm selling to a customer and they have a customer specific price, they'll get that one. And then it looks to see if they're part of a customer group, and it would get that. If not, then it would default to the all customer pricing. So I can control the price, the way that I price products to my customers down to a very finite level by using these combinations of features inside of Dynamics NAV. I've added a quantity of 5 boxes of these cigars, and what I wanted to do here was to show you how when we print the order confirmation for this, or the sales order or the invoice, how this will actually appear. Now, out of the box, Dynamics NAV doesn't make these very fancy. It doesn't have a logo on them or anything, but as you can see, what we have here is that it says item number cigar, and it brings in the description from the variant code to tell them what the exact product is they're purchasing, the unit price, the extended price, and so on and so forth. This is charging sales tax, and so it gives you the ability to be able to get an idea of how these variant codes really work through the entire process. So I've gone back to my cigar here, and I want to show you a couple of more things. One, in the replenishment area here, we've set up this item to be purchased from vendor 30,000, and I've set up a different vendor item number on it. So I can have my own item numbers, which I have cigar here, and then I can have a vendor item number. When I purchase this from the vendor, this vendor item number will show up on their purchase order so they know what I'm ordering. I also can go into the purchasing area here, and I can look at prices. So what I've actually done here is for this particular item, because I have variants here, I've set up when I buy this from this vendor, I've set up all my variant codes with what the price is that I'm paying based on these. So for the variant code good, I'm paying $50 a box, better $75, best $100, and a starting date for this pricing record. So I can automatically be generating the correct prices on these when I go out and create purchase orders for this product. If I go to this Requisition Worksheet button that's here, what I get is an area where I can calculate what I should be ordering. So I can calculate a plan, and when I do that, I can use a forecast if I'm using production forecast. For this, I'm not going to, and I'm going to just blank this out because I want to show you how this will calculate for everything. I click OK, and this goes out and looks at every item that I have that is below my reorder point, and it puts in information for me to create new purchase orders for these, the quantity, the unit of measures, and so on and so forth that I need for all of the items that are out of my system. Here's my cigar. It's brought this in. My reorder quantity was 100 because I've never purchased these before. I don't have a default location set up for it, but that's okay. I don't have this. Has varying warehouses that are set up in this demo, but you can see how this brings in all of the information about what I need to purchase. So I'm going to delete these lines, and now what I'm actually going to do is just repeat this process one more time, but I can limit this to a specific item if I want to. So I'm going to do this just, oops, type that in the wrong spot. Click off that, down here, type in the product. So this is my Havana cigar. I click OK, and this brings this into my requisition worksheet for me, all ready to process. A couple of things to look at here. I've never purchased this item before, so my direct unit cost here is 0. But if I go over, because this has variant codes, and I select what I want to buy here, and I tab off of this, notice this now gives me a direct unit cost of $75 because that's what I pay for the better quality. And notice it changed my description for me also to a AAA quality Havana cigar. If I go across to the a little further over here, I see my vendor number is here, and I see the vendor item number being displayed here as well. So, and the replenishment system is going to be a purchase order. So this item now is all set up and ready to for me to actually create the purchase order for it. So for each of these lines, there is a little checkbox here. It says accept action message. And what this does is that if I have a whole bunch of these lines, I could check on and off which ones of these I actually want to create production orders for. They come in with this box checked, assuming that you want to take its suggestion on what it's going to do here. This box is checked. This is all set. There's a button up here that says carry out action message. I click this. It asks me if I want to print it, which I'm not going to do. And I simply can say OK here. This has gone out now and created a purchase order for me to purchase these cigars. I can close my requisition worksheet. And I'm back to my Havana cigar here. And what I can do is click this navigate button. And if I look in the purchasing area here, I can find orders. So these are purchase orders that I have created or that are open for this. And if I navigate to this, I can see that I have one purchase order out here. And the document number is 106027. And if I go to navigate here, I can actually see my purchase order for this particular item. So I have a cigar that I'm ordering, and it's put in my new description based upon my variant code. Quantity of 100 boxes at $75 each, and it's purchasing these from vendor 30,000. One of the things that I can do with this is that I can go to the print routine here. And when I preview this, again, it doesn't have a company logo on it, but notice it now has, it doesn't say cigar, it has the vendor item number on it. It shows the grade that I'm purchasing. I'm buying boxes, $175 each, total $7,500. So this really kind of completes the cycle here. And I could have 150 lines sitting in that requisition worksheet. When I tell it to carry out action messages, it'll create 150 purchase orders for all of the items to all the different vendors. So we've seen how the requisition process works for items that are purchased. I want to show you how this works for items that are produced. So I'm going to go to this item 1000 bicycle here. And this item is set up with a replenishment system of production order. So we're going to use production orders to produce this. And we have a quantity on hand of 32. We have a quantity on production order of 16, so that's 48. And if I'm correct, if I subtract 48 from 104, we should get a production request here for 56 units. So what I want to do, first of all, is I want to look at these production orders. If I drill in here, I see that I currently have two production orders out here, quantity of 27 and a quantity of 16. And what we're going to do is we're going to go out and create a demand for this, which will create additional production orders. And then we'll be able to check it and make sure that our demand is being met correctly. I'm going to close this item card up, and I'm going to navigate to the manufacturing area. So under manufacturing, I have an area called planning, and there's a planning worksheet like there's a requisition worksheet. The difference between these are that the requisition worksheet only looks at purchased items and only creates purchase orders. This planning worksheet has a function called calculate regenerative plan, and this not only will calculate items that need to be produced, but it'll also calculate any items that are needed for the components on those at the time that I'm doing that. So I'm going to leave this item number blank. It's a very we have a small database here. I'm going to calculate MPS and MRP. So when I run this, what happens is that it goes out and it looks at everything that I have to produce. And if you notice, the top three items here are that bicycle that I was looking at originally. So it's planning on producing, setting up 4 different production orders for that. If I slide over just a little bit here, you can see the replenishment system for this is production order. Some of these items are actually purchased. Some are to be transferred because the requisition method includes, if I'm short, to transfer it from a different location. So this is an all-encompassing piece that's looking at items that need to be produced and the components that are required to produce those items, and what do I need to order and what am I short. So this is a very comprehensive planning piece that Dynamics NAV has. So I'm going to delete these lines. So I've just highlighted them all. I'm going to select delete lines, and this will delete all the lines that are in this planning worksheet. And I'm going to calculate this again. I'm going to delete this forecast because I don't want to use that. And here I'm going to just look at my item 1000, my bicycle that we talked about. I'm going to say OK. And what this is doing is bringing these in, and it's matching these up against open sales orders for them. So I have 4 sales orders here where the demand is not satisfied. So it's suggesting that I create 4 production orders for this. And if I wanted to, I could delete 3 of these and I could change this quantity to be the full amount. But if we look at this, we have 32 plus 20 is 52 plus 4 is 56. So this comes up to meet the demand that we had. So we had a demand of, I believe it was 104, and we needed 56 more in order to fulfill that demand. So I'm going to leave some of these out here because I like to have them in the demo database. So what I'm going to do is select 3 of these lines and delete them. And I have 1 item left out here, or 1 line left out here, to produce a production order. And again, this has the same kind of thing that we saw in the requisition worksheet. It has a little checkbox, and these all come in as checked to accept the action message and or carry out the action message here. And when I do that, this will go out and produce a production order for me. So all I have to do is click this carry out action message button, and it asks me what I want to create here, whether I want to create a firm planned order, a planned, firm planned, whatever kind of production order here that I want to produce. And I'm going to simply say OK, and this has created my firm planned production order for me. So if we exit out of here, and return back to our item, so this is my bicycle, and I now have 20 on production order instead of 16. I drill in here, and here's the new production order that I just created for this, for the quantity of 4. And we can navigate to this and show the document. And this is our firm plan production order that we just created out here. Now this would create thousands of production orders if I had that many in the worksheet. Not only will it create production orders, but it'll also create purchase orders all simultaneously.